Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement. It is Robbie Fox, and I am here with Topher Grace. What's going on, man?
How are you? Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. You got the final episodes of Home Economics this season airing March 16th and 23rd on Wednesdays. And I've seen some interviews with you talking about this show and you saying that you've laughed more on this set than maybe any other.
Yeah, it's just a great group. Like, I am just a big fan. I was the first one on it. So I got to be a little bit part of the casting, just in the sense I got to read with people, and you go, oh, I have great chemistry with these people kind of one-on-one, but it was during COVID, so we never actually all read together as a group until we were shooting. And I, especially having been on a dream team before, I was kind of like, I hope it's like dating, you never know.
Yeah.
You could say these two people should really work together. Yeah, it didn't work out. But I went to work very nervous on the first day, and then by like day 2 or something, I was driving home like cocky. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
These guys are just so
You
good.
could feel the
I don't have
chemistry.
to really do that much, like that's the hope. You have a group that just, in a show like this, the group is the star,
Yeah. And like you said, you've worked with literal dream teams in the past. So do you have someone that comes to mind as like the funniest person you've ever been on set with?
Whoa. No joke. It sounds like I should say it because I'm here promoting it, but it's not. I've also done a lot of dramas where there is like no funniest person on set, or maybe sadly I'm the funniest person. But like Jimmy Tatro is like, and I love everyone on the show. They're all very funny, and Sashir's really good. They're all funny in a different way, but Jimmy's like, he really wants to make you laugh and make the scene be bad. Like he wants to ruin the scene.
Yeah.
By making you laugh. And if he can see that he's starting to make you laugh, and now we've been working together for, over a year on it, he'll just he won't let up.
Does it become easier or harder for him to make you laugh, like the more you get to know him?
Oh, easier for him. It's
Yeah.
harder for all of us. It's the worst. But, at a certain point, you gotta get the actual take.
Oh, yeah. You're like, come on, dude. Yeah, we got to do this.
But he's amazing. And Shashir is very, they're all great. But she's got a bit of a writer in her, too. So she kind of will write stuff that a couple days later I'm like, that's really funny. Like, it's just a great group. And yeah, I think also we feel very comfortable around each other. So that's part of, you can't really have a great set experience unless you really feel comfortable, which is not all. Sometimes you kind of come in, you do your thing and leave on a movie, and it's not about comfort.
Do you ever personally watch your own stuff back, or is that something you stay away from?
I try to just at night before I go to bed, watch 1 or 2 episodes of something I've been in, get me in a good mood. No. I think...
Is it one of those things where you're like, I can't look at myself on screen, or is it like, if I catch an episode in the background?
I hate these actors who say, I've never watched something. First of all,
There's
they're
a lot
lying.
of them, yeah.
They're lying. They're all lying. And what's sad is they have to walk out of the premiere and then watch some DVD in their basement at night or something. There's no way you do... to pick on Johnny Depp, but you know what I mean? Like, there's no way you do Pirates of the Caribbean and you're like, I don't want to see any of the effects or any of it. I don't want to see any of it.
Why not?
Give me a break.
Yeah.
But I understand actors who don't want to watch it too much. So I love seeing something cut together. It's the whole, it's what you've been aiming for. You want to see, were you successful in that? Was it good? What did that look like? But I do think there's a masturbatorial thing of watching it too much that you should stay away from.
Yeah. Another thing that's been announced, I assume you probably can't talk about it too much, is that 90s show.
That's right.
I just want to
You're right
ask,
in saying that.
as far as reboots go, do you have a favorite reboot, one that comes to mind where you're like, oh, they really did that right. They captured the tone of that show and brought it back in the right way? Or a movie, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess I would reference movies more. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Same.
But I thought that first one they did.
Force Awakens?
Yeah, I thought it did it for me. I mean, it's almost like getting this place with fandom where you can't say anything purely positive about anything. I'd love to release, wipe all the fans' minds now of A New Hope and release it and just see them all hate it or something. But I just thought they did such a great job of having I guess you call them legacy characters in there and really serve a real emotional function. And then the new people were great. And I didn't love her one after that, but I thought it was really good. That first one, I thought it did it for me. And I was a tough critic, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have some Star Wars stuff later on in this interview.
But what is your favorite reboot?
Oh, my favorite. You know what? I'm a huge Force Awakens guy as well. I love the sequels as a whole. I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I've got the lightsaber on my arm here.
Look at this. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Can we curse on this?
Oh yeah, say
Okay.
whatever you want. Barstool.
Wait, let's just look at all these.
Yeah, so I've got a lightsaber. I've got Batman.
Oh, then this must
I've
have been a
got
big opening
Animal.
weekend for you.
I saw that you're also an Electric Mayhem guy from your Twitter.
Not only my Electric Mayhem, maybe I shouldn't talk about this, but I know someone who's involved with a project that you're gonna really be excited about.
Well, I'm excited because there's supposedly new Electric Mayhem stuff on the way.
I think it's gonna be really insane.
It's my mom's basement. I got kind of like a notebook full of drawings on my arm that are just nerdy.
I love it, dude. I love all that stuff.
But it's a good question. I liked the new Ghostbusters. I know some people weren't all crazy about it, but I thought it was I
liked it too.
movie.
I thought it was good. I think the real thing is, I felt this when I watched Ghostbusters, which I liked and was incredibly well made. You really don't. This is probably tell me if I'm getting too deep, but you don't want to watch another Ghostbusters film. You want it to be 1984, and you want to be. Well, you weren't probably even alive in 1984,
No.
but like I want to be 6 in 1984. I want to not know that the world is bad. Do you know what I mean? I want to not know any of the stuff that was introduced to me. I just want to be. I don't even want to be 6 as much. I just want that feeling of safety, and I want to be bonded with my dad watching it. So I think ultimately that's what we all want when we're doing these reboots. It's kind of impossible to capture that real feeling. People are saying, just send me, not even a time machine, send me back into the Matrix. What was that guy who wants to go back? Remember in the Matrix?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Lost. We got to go back.
No. That guy in the Matrix who goes, I know, like, I want to, like, I'll sell out this crew. I want you to put me back in the Matrix and erase my mind.
Is it the Cypher? Is it him?
I don't know. I haven't
Bald
watched
dude?
that movie in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Who's
for
it?
me as well.
Was it Joey Pants? Joey Pantaleone. He's like, no. The first one, when he goes back, he says, put me back in the Matrix. I'll sell out my whole crew, but you have to erase my mind that I did any of this bad stuff. I just want to be back in the Matrix. And I'm like, that's what reboots really feel like to me. It's like, you're like, I just want
erase it
to be a child again. You don't
Yeah.
even have the feelings of safety that I had. But that's probably too deep an answer. Sorry.
No, that was a great answer. Great answer. And I know you kept, for a while at least, the couch from that 70s show. Did you keep any other souvenirs?
But this
from
is a great
any other
example
movies?
of that. I got engaged. So my wife was finally honest with her feelings about this couch. She said, she wasn't a fan of 70s show. She was like, I don't like this couch.
Just an old couch.
This is an old, by the way, it's a crappy couch before we shot the show. And then it got much crappier.
Yeah.
And I said, no, come on. This is like the couch from the show. And she said the best thing to me. She was like, well, if you want to have a kind of like a priceless memento from that 70s show, you'll be that guy until you die. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I am.
When people see you, they'll think of that show, yeah.
Sold the couch for charity and,
Did you keep any other souvenirs from any other things that you've been in, any movies or TV shows?
No, I actually, I think I am very nostalgic.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't have that. I don't want to pretend like I'm one of those people who like never looks back. But I don't. I think everyone's trying. That's another way they're trying to get back into it, and you got to move forward, right?
Yeah. So I watched an interview with you earlier from Conan O'Brien, and I believe 2001.
Whoa.
And you
Love
and
the
Conan,
research, dude.
you and Conan were talking about you sneaking into the Oscars when you were in college.
That's true.
That is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. You said
This is pre 9/11 security.
Yeah, you said you and your buddies just got a limo, wore tuxes, and got into the Oscars?
The long version of that is USC is literally right across from where they used to host the Oscars at the Shrine Auditorium. So we were up drinking beers, like looking from the parking garage over at the setup, and one of my friends was like, I bet if we just got in a limo, got in a line, we could just walk in. And I was like, I guess we could. And I had just gotten that 70s show on a fluke. It was I'd never acted before. And someone saw me in a high school play. So I knew in a month I had to report for duty to do the pilot of that 70s show. I thought, I can't do this like next year. Like it's now or never. Or I'm going to be the kid from that canceled Fox sitcom or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's do it. And I really spearheaded it. We couldn't even afford tuxedos because we were, college freshmen. So we wore black blazers and black pants, and we rented just the bow ties. 3 bow ties. And we got a limo, and the thing that really made it work is there were no limos available. It was Oscar weekend.
True.
So this guy was like, all right, man, for $100, I'll drop off whoever he was dropping off, Nicole Kidman or whatever, come around the block, get you at, your dorm.
Yeah.
And I think
just a second spin around.
And what happened was I realized now he had the thing that lets you into that lane already in his limo because of it. So we had these little roll-up click cameras. This is before they had cameras on your phone. And we went out on red carpet, and it was like Tyra Banks and Drew Barrymore. I peed in a urinal next to Gregory Peck.
Nice.
That was
Never
certainly
forget
never
that,
thought that
yeah.
would happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that audience looks like it's full of movie stars. We got out of the limo like, whoa! We like waved to everybody,
yeah.
and
Act
they
like
all
you're
cheered
being
for
there,
like
yeah.
half a second. They're like, who are these kids? And kind of like ran in. But the audience is just seat fillers. Outside of those first 8 rows, it's just a bunch of seat fillers. So I guess we just became seat fillers. You know, we just sat down and they were like, oh, these 2 seats are taken, all right. And it was great. James Cameron won for Titanic, and
Wow.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won, and I met Paul Thomas Anderson. It was crazy.
The craziest experience I can imagine. Just act like you belong.
Right,
to
well,
the
it was
Oscars.
weird because I had already had a weird experience in that I wasn't planning on being in Hollywood, and then got this
Thrust
audition.
into
and
it.
So it was a good, like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. And it was just very heady. I remember we went to the Denny's that's right next door afterwards. Like, we had the programs. I think I still have the program somewhere. 1997
Oh, yeah,
Academy
that's a
Awards.
souvenir. Nostalgic about
That's
that, I
that.
guess.
Well, that's a real. We earned that one. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I thought was very interesting, going back to 2005, you hosted Saturday Night Live, and it was one of the first ever appearances of Jason Sudeikis on that show, and he was like in your monologue, actually. Do you remember working with him when he was just a writer?
Yeah, and he's when I bump into him, he'll still talk about that because I think they probably when they come in the cast, they probably forget how many sketches they were in, but I think at that time it's valuable to these writers, and he was I remember him being a star writer at the time. Like, it wasn't like he was a nobody who got into it. Was like he was a star writer who I guess was trying to go in the performer route. And I said, you got it, kid. I said, let's get him in the model. No, I didn't. He was just a really nice guy.
Another thing, I'm obviously a huge comic book fan. I've heard you say in other interviews that you're hesitant to talk about the whole Spider-Man thing just because of the clickbait culture.
Well, that's what
online.
happens is you start talking about it. I truly, it's been so long, I have nothing to really say about it in a good or bad way, but it's like, you know, you talk about it and it gets so much pickup.
Did that culture make doing media for you less fun? In that, like, we're going to take one thing you say, run it in the headline. No?
No, I think, no, because most people like you are respectful of, you know, like, you just have to be open saying, you know, it's not going to, you know, whatever, I just don't want to do that or whatever. It's not, I really have nothing to say about it. I mean,
it's been a long time. You've probably done enough interviews about it where, all that's out there, but yeah.
And I liked my experience on it, but it's like, what can you say? But no, most people are. I've also learned ways to say in a nice way. You know, let's not do. And by the way, I like talking about everything I've been involved with because people ask me the same thing about 70 Show. Like, do you mind like talking about it? I'm like, no. I worked so hard on that. Like, I love it. I love that people are still talking about it.
I think people like that just from like a fan perspective too, because sometimes you are a fan of an actor who's in something and you're like, oh, I love them from that, and then they're like,
there's nothing worse.
I don't want to talk about
when
it.
someone comes up, like, and it's always like their identifier.
Yeah.
Like, that's who they are, and you're like, well, I don't want to talk about, you know, I don't know. I don't want to pick on anyone, but
another thing that I know that you're a big fan of in the comic book realm is Batman. I know you're a big Batman Returns fan, so I wanted to ask, have you seen The Batman?
Now, where are you getting the Batman Returns thing from?
You mentioned that in a Lights Camera Barstool interview with
Did I?
Yeah.
That I like Batman Returns. Oh, you mean the comic book?
Possibly. You said Batman Returns, so I thought the Tim Burton movie.
Oh, and I thought I liked the first one more.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But I thought the second one got a little weird, kind of some in cool ways, and some, like, I was like,
a little too Tim Burton-y in some ways. Yeah, the black goo coming out of DeVito's mouth.
You know what I want to talk about, dude? If you want to talk about Batman,
yeah.
This is a very controversial hot take.
Okay.
And I'm older than you, so I'm older than probably anyone here except for my buddy. I thought the third one with Val Kilmer, when I saw it when I was 17, was great. Like, not the greatest movie I'd ever seen, but I was like, this is great. Like, I love Jim Carrey as the bad guy, and I kind of like the symmetry of the Two-Face stuff. And, you know, I mean, you compare it to the Chris Nolan stuff, it's like no contest. But I kind of was into it. You know, that scene where we were 17, we were like prime audience for it. We go in there and he goes, should we take the boat or should we go by air? And I was like, oh my God, you know, I thought it was so great. And because that fourth one is so bad.
Yeah. So bad it's good in a lot of ways.
Maybe with time. I only saw it when it came out. I was like, oh, this isn't the thing.
Yeah.
But I think it gets like kind of, you're nodding. You agree? But how do you feel if you're younger? Maybe you don't know, because if you've watched the Chris Nolan thing and then you watch that, you're probably like, this is too campy or whatever.
I love the campiness.
They're like, the new ones are like action.
Yeah.
Movies.
But that one wasn't too campy. It was Jim Carrey. I mean,
the new ones you could
thing.
almost, and the Batman included. And I love The Dark Knight's one of my favorite movies ever, if not my favorite movie.
Yeah.
The Batman.
I haven't seen this new. I have kids.
I thought it was awesome.
I
loved it. But they're both movies where you could probably take Batman out of them and rewrite it to be a cop character, and it
the new
works in a lot of ways. Yeah, then the new one, even The Dark Knight, you could probably like take out. Batman Forever is like a comic book Batman in your face.
Right.
Gotham looks like it's somewhere in a snow globe, like it doesn't even exist in the universe.
Yeah.
Like I like all of that.
But don't you agree that it got taken down a notch by the fourth one?
Yeah, because people just say the Schumacher movies.
Right. And I'm like, I think he did a good job, and
I also love Kilmer as Bruce Wayne. I think Val Kilmer's a great Bruce.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again. Maybe now if I watched it, I'd go, I don't know. But at the time, I thought, this is serving me everything I want, you know?
Yeah. I think you'll probably like the new one if you're
I
into
can't
that
wait
stuff.
to see it.
The new one's like really impressive. You also mentioned Christopher Nolan. You got to work with Christopher Nolan in Interstellar. What is it like actually working with a director like that, a story director like that, as an actor?
He's so prepared. Thing that blew me away, especially because he was shooting a lot of the scenes I was in IMAX, is we do like maybe 2 takes. We definitely do 1, maybe 2. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to? But first of all, he's watching it on a little screen around his neck. There's no one crowding around the monitor. He's a full auteur, completely in control of what's going on. But I'm like, do you want to like just check it back and make sure? He has so much confidence, and I think it comes from he does a lot of prep. So I mean, every director does a lot of prep. I think he does like an insane amount of prep. So like, he's just, this is my guess, but he's just so confident with what he's doing. It's just about getting there, shooting it. I would have thought he'd do. I thought he'd be like Kubrick. They have a lot of like, they do a ton of takes, but he had so much confidence, and I remember after a while being in those scenes, being like, I was starting to feel more confident. Like it affects the actors, because you kind of are like, this is going great, and why would we shoot it 8? If you shoot it like 22 times, maybe that's because I suck or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're not getting what you want to get, I guess. Yeah,
he's just a really warm, wonderful guy, and really funny, which I think a lot of people don't know about him. And then just very confident in what he's doing, and it's all prepared, and you just get to go there and have fun. It's great. I mean, it's the dream. His sets are the dream.
Yeah, you don't really like fully get into your character's backstory in that movie, but does he give you something on set where he's like, this is your character, this is where it's from, or is that all up to you based on the script?
No. He's I think he's into a lot of prep, but I also think he's a minimalist, and that's why he's able to tackle these subject matters that are so vast. It takes someone who has that level of confidence, and felt very confident when he cast me, and I'm sure all the other actors did, and he's just, I mean, it was actually very similar to working with Spike Lee, and and Chris Nolan was at the Cannes premiere of BlacKkKlansman, which was really great to be able to see him, and and then he cast John David Washington in Tenet.
Yeah,
but they reminded me of each other. Spike has a lot of confidence. You're doing like maybe 1 or 2 takes. It's so funny because if you're like me, I just watched like all of Spike's greatest films the night before I came to work with him, and then you're like, we're not doing this a bunch of times, like, and then you go, no, in order to be that good, you actually have to be a genius, not do it a bunch of times,
Yeah, there's like an organicness to it, maybe that's added even.
Well, also you go home the first night, the first day of Interstellar or BlacKkKlansman, I was a little bit like, whoa, we're not doing that many takes, and you show up the next day ready.
Yeah,
like you are ready to deliver, and then everyone gets like that, and these are some great performers I got to work with. So
it's a great performance by you. That's one of my favorite performances by you. It's awesome. I mean, a devious guy, horrible guy, but great performance.
Yeah, it's tough when I talk about it, because sometimes I'm talking about it as an actor, and you're like,
I love
nothing
that
better than a juicy, amazing role like that, and they're like, but he's a terrible man. I'm like, oh no, worst guy ever. But
yeah.
That's what makes it so interesting.
Fun to play, I'm sure. The Star Wars thing that we kind of referenced earlier.
Let's do it, bro.
You are, I would say, up there in terms of like when people think celebrity Star Wars fans, they think Topher Grace.
I'm not that big a Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars a lot.
Isn't that funny?
I don't know
though,
the names of any of the planets.
People kind of associate with you, I assume, because of the fan edit.
Well, first, my character on 70 Show was a huge fan of Star Wars, and I think kind of in the way I am, where I think it's probably our greatest franchise, or one of them. No, it's probably, come on, let's be real. Like in that, Harry Potter is great, or but like in terms of like
throw Lord of the Rings out the window. There's
changing
only
the
one
culture.
return. It's of the Jedi, not of the King.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I don't hate it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, fuck it. Too much walking in those movies.
I liked it, and so I would reference it as my favorite thing, but I'm just not really that into it beyond, like, I've never read any of the books or watched the cartoon.
You don't have the lightsaber tattoo?
No, I got a replica lightsaber in my office, and I like it. It's cool. But like, what happened was I did a movie that I produced, the first movie I produced about 10 years ago, and I gave such bad notes in editing. I didn't know what post was. I thought I knew. I've been into post before, but I gave terrible, terrible notes, and I felt so awful about it. My penance was I got a Avid editing machine off of eBay and cut Atonement. You remember that movie, Atonement? Probably not. It's a Joe Wright film from 2007 or something. It has all these flashbacks, and I reordered them, and I learned to cut while I was on it. So I would show this version of Atonement to my friends, but it was like 26 minutes long. They're like, good movie, but like, whoa, that is like short. And I was like, all right, I need like way more material. So I was looking at trilogies, and the trilogy with Natalie Portman in it, I was like, this feels like there's one movie in there that's really tight, and sadly it's 3 films long. So I took all that footage, I put all the deleted scenes, they have all the effects done. So I put all the deleted scenes in. So I had like maybe just shy of 10 hours of footage in a row, and just molded it over a year. And it was not, again, it wasn't a Star Wars thing. I mean, I do love Star Wars, but it was more like, to be honest, I didn't like the prequels that much, but it was just coming from a place of like, how do you tell the story, and how do you learn how to edit when a scene is over? And so I got it down to like 80 minutes, which is really something from 9.5 hours.
Yeah, especially with those movies.
Yeah. And then I did a screening at the Soho House in Los Angeles, and my friend invited 2 bloggers. One blogger won't set the internet on fire, but you get 2 bloggers in there.
Yep.
And
it's going to be talked about for 10 years.
It is still being talked about now. And I was just so tickled about it because I really loved editing. But I'm sad that the thing that comes out of it is that I'm a Star Wars fan, which I am. Yeah. But what I really loved is the learning about editing. And I have no yen. I should say this to any directors listening. I have no yen to edit my own stuff. It's more just like, if you are working at a restaurant in the kitchen, you go work the counter, and you know what I mean? Like, you just learn something about everything. And it was very instructional for me as an actor, really, to do. And just now I understand when I'm giving an editing note how to not look like an idiot.
Well, it's funny that you say that you're not like this diehard Star Wars fan, because so many of the diehard Star Wars fans are like, all we want to see is the Topher Grace cut.
Well, I appreciate that a lot, and
myself included. Is this confirmed? It starts with the Duel of Fates, and most of episode 1 is cut out.
I'm going to tell you what I did. Yes, starts with the Duel, and I had someone animate the pan down, and it has a new crawl. It actually the crawl
you
starts with
the crawl?
Yeah, it starts with it was all a dream. Like, none of that happened. That's like a kind of a funny thing. And then it talks about, I forget exactly, but it starts with, for some reason, it makes it okay that it starts with this amazing lightsaber battle. And then it cuts to Yoda telling him, you have to take care of this kid. And then he's with the kid in the elevator, just kind of jumps into the next movie.
Into clones, yeah.
And then, by the way, I cut a lot on the action too. Like, there's a lot of, it was very like the way that movie is shot. It's not like I heard that the original, I guess Marsha Lucas, George Lucas' wife, was an editor on the first one, and I think her and a team really kind of saved that movie. It was
That's
maybe
what
more
people say.
Kind of like exterior, mid shot, like close shot, and what she wound up doing was going from like the exterior just to a close, like weird stuff that you wouldn't know. Also, I think in that first movie, they weren't about to blow up the planet the Princess Leia was on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's that. There was like.
But I think about the tension that scene wouldn't have if you didn't think she was going to die if they didn't blow up the Death Star. So in this one, I cut the action down. It's just really tight, and And then at the end, I reordered the ending so that it ends with him getting the helmet on. And this crowd, man, it was so. Because you don't need anything beyond him getting the helmet on.
You cut that?
Oh, yeah, because it ends with this thing like, tss, and then you hear the breathing, and then this whole
and that's
crowd
the
just
end.
started going.
That's the
like
end.
It goes to the credits, and people started cheering. It was such a great moment. Just because, like, once Disney bought it, I was like, oh, I'll never show it. Don't worry. And I should know they are my parent company, too, by the way. But I just, it was such a fun experience to, I think at that point, JJ hadn't even signed on to do it yet.
Yeah.
So it was like, maybe they thought there was never going to be any more Star Wars, and it was great to have a room full of 200 people go nuts. It was really, really fun.
Yeah. Well, they can't see that, but they can see your Star Wars trailer. So if you're like itching for a little Topher Grace Star Wars editing, you could check out the
buddy
trailer
of mine,
on YouTube.
yes, we cut a 5-minute thing that is called Star Wars Always that you're welcome to go
pretty
watch
awesome.
on YouTube. But that's me with my wife and his wife were away for a weekend. And that's what's going on, guys.
That's what the boys
Once
were
you have
getting
kids,
into.
you're like, let's go crazy.
Bachelor weekend.
He's an editor too, so it was like, I mean, he's a real editor, and we had a lot of fun. But yeah, I've really enjoyed producing the show I'm on. I enjoy editing, and now it's like sometimes now I'll like ask the set designer about I think if you want to be doing essentially the same thing your whole life, you have to be doing actually different things.
Yeah, a little
that
different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. All right, thank you for joining the show. Final episodes of Home Economics this season, as I said, March 16th and March 23rd.
Actually, not to correct you, it goes on much longer than that, but those are episodes that are coming on. It's fine.
Oh, the Wikipedia.
Unless there's something I don't know, and ABC. No, those are the next two.
Yeah.
Those
those are the next two. Look out for the next two, and then Wednesdays. It's on Wednesdays.
I'm just editing the last 5 down into one 5-minute.
Yeah, the Topher cut. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Pleasure. That was really fun, man.